Hi, my name's Kate. I am a high school math teacher in the middle of my 17th year of teaching. Today, I thought that I would take you guys on a little tour of my Google Drive to show you how I organize my digital files. We are definitely in the era of pretty much all things digital, even though almost everything that I do with my students is still paper and pencil. I have all those digital copies of everything. So I thought that I would show you how I keep all of those things organized. So let's go ahead and flip around to my computer and I'll show you what I have. So here is my Google Drive homepage. I do have a lot of folders on the front, and that is something that I am probably going to start condensing a little bit as I don't access as many as I used to. And I do have some resources down here that still need to be organized, but we're going to really focus on the folders that I use the most. And so what I have created here at the very beginning is a folder for this school year. And the other folder that I have over here is the folder for last school year. So I definitely access last year's files when I create my files for this year. So if we go into this year's files, I have a folder for each class at the very start, and I was able to use little emojis, and that helped pull those files to the beginning. You could also use a star or number those to get those at the front. And then I colored those as well. Those correspond with the colors that I use for my binders. So I'm definitely into the color coding a little bit. So I've got my 3 different folders here, and then I've got this folder for e-learning, and then a couple other folders, and then I only have a few files in here that aren't organized, and they're things that I access, if I need our bell schedule. I'm doing with Canvas tabbed calendars, and every once in a while my code gets messed up, so I just have a copy of the clean code right here. And then these are for our remediation during our impact time or our homeroom time, and then our supply order form. So just things that I access often, I have right on the very kind of beginning of this folder. So if we look into one of my course folders, so we'll look into geometry here. When I open this up, I have more folders here, and then a few files. So again, these are files that I access often, a survey that I had them do at the start of the year, a syllabus, the Bitmoji classroom. I don't use this anymore in Canvas, but I had that for first semester, so that's why that's in there. And then I have a folder for the final exam. So if we go into that, I have semester 1, and then I will have a second one for semester 2. And we'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks. And then I have a folder for each unit labeled with the unit and the name of the unit, which has been helpful for me. And then it keeps those in order. So if we jump into one of these units, so Unit 1, Transformations, I also have folders in here breaking my lessons down by day and labeling it by the day and what topic is being taught. I have organized my files in other ways where just within the unit folder I have all of the classwork and homework, but I found just putting everything in by day has been really helpful. So when I click on day 1 Intro to Transformations, I can see all of the files that I have here. And the same when I go into any of my days. Day 2 Transformations, I've got the information here. When I go into, my review day, same thing, I've got a copy of the files. Now I will have, so this is a good example, if I have a PDF, a lot of times I do have that Word document so that I can download that and edit things if needed. The few files that I did not have those for day 1, I do have digital copies of both of these. They just happen to be on a folder on my computer instead. But since doing this unit a couple of months after this unit, I definitely realized, hey, I want to really keep all of this stuff together. So I've been adding the Word files. So everything, and then I have the unit test as well. I may not actually have the test in here this time. I do. Sometimes I don't. But again, I do have a folder on my computer as well with those files so that I don't have to, for some things that I do access a lot, I don't have to re-download those. And then this time I have this Unit 1 work checklist. So at the very beginning of the year, the first 2 units, I give my students this when they take the test. Okay, these are the assignments that you're missing because I do accept late homework until the day of the test. And so I give them this. These are what you need to work on. And that's helpful. And then as the students are used to it a little bit, then I start making them go and check for themselves. So that's what I have in my geometry tab. If I go back, I have the same thing for my quantitative reasoning class. So my units, so here, because I wanted my final exam to come later, so I put a little asterisk in front of my units and that put those at the beginning. And the same thing, so unit 1, if we click in, I've got all of my folders in here. And then sometimes, I've got this great metric conversions chart that I would use for the entire unit, so those things would fall within just the main unit folder itself. And then the same thing with pre-calculus, it looks the same way. Go in. I did not name my chapters in this just because with pre-calculus, especially first semester, there's so many different concepts, so I just know what the chapters are. And so what I did start doing with pre-calculus, let's go back here, because I find with geometry, I change things from year to year often, which is why having those new folders from one year to the next is really helpful. But with pre-calculus, so we're moving into chapter 7, and you notice I've got nothing here now. So what I am doing now, again, because pre-calculus doesn't change, is I'm just going back into the last year's pre-calculus class, and I'm able to pull the information from there instead. That way I'm not clogging up. I mean, I've used 55 out of my 100 gigs. Clearly, I'm not going to run out anytime soon, but this will just help eliminate that need to, shoot, I am running out of room. What do I have to delete? So knowing that I don't change pre-calculus, I've decided just to jump into last year's. Yes, I could dump all of that stuff into my new folder, and I may going into the next year, but for right now, that's just working for me. My next folder over here, my e-learning folder, this is when we have our e-learning days, and we are allowed scheduled e-learning days. So I have just a Google form where I take attendance, and then there's my spreadsheet that has all of the data for all of the days of e-learning. So I've got those there. I'm not going to open it up again because it's got student information in there, but that's all that's in e-learning. E&L midterm progress is where we need to give some information about the progress of our E&L students. So personal information can't open. Important information would include things like our school calendar, our phone list for the year, and things very specific to my building. So I know if I'm looking for some of that building specific stuff, I can go in here. My SFS folder, there's not a whole lot in it. This is for our evaluation. So I've got any evidence that I need to upload to this FSF software. I dump in that folder, and then the last folder is for all of my sub-plans, and I use the same template over again, so I'll just go in and I will make a copy of one of these, and I'll rename it, and I'll put that in. So yeah, I've been absent 8 days this year. But anyway, so this is how I organize my digital files for my classes, and I found that this has been really helpful. It's really easy to access from any place. One thing that I did not address in the video is what do I do with all of those files that I have that I'm not currently using or I haven't used in the past? So I do have a bunch of resources, that either I've created myself or that I have gotten through other TPT sellers, whether it's in their newsletters, in their freebies, or whether it's from TPT itself. I have a folder on my desktop of my computer that just says extra resources, and in there I have each of the courses, Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, Pre-Calc. I even have a calculus folder. I have a pre-calculus folder, even though I don't teach those, but those are just in case. And then in each of those folders, I just have the different standards as I get things. So if I get something on solving one-step equations, I'll have a folder for solving equations, and then I'll dump it in there. And when I am looking for something new, something different, I will jump into that folder and look through things. And then if it's something that I do end up using with my students, then I will drag it into Google Drive. So that's just a quick glimpse into how I do digital organization. I did do a video all on how I use my binder system, so you guys can see right here my binder system with all of my paper organization. So I will leave a link to that video in the description, as well as I'll try to leave it up here in the cards or at the very end of this video. I'll leave it someplace if that is something that you are also interested in watching. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in following along more with my journey of teaching high school, please subscribe. I do upload videos every Friday, but you can hit that notification bell to be notified the next time a video goes up. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.